Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into some truly paradigm-shifting ideas about how we understand the human mind. We're totally rethinking autism, stepping away from those outdated concepts and leaning hard into empathy, neurodiversity, and real practical support. So whether you're a parent, an educator, or honestly just someone who wants to understand the people around you a little bit better, you're in the exact right place. Let's get right into this fresh, compassionate perspective.
Okay, I want to kick things off with a question that might just flip everything you thought you knew on its head. What if the communication barriers in autism actually go both ways? I mean, for decades, right, the standard narrative has always been that autistic individuals have this inherent deficit in social communication. But what if we've literally been looking at this all wrong? What if the struggle to connect is completely mutual?
To really wrap our heads around this, we first need to talk about neurodiversity. Basically, this framework treats diverse brain functions, things like how we process sensory input or how we socialize, as completely natural human variations. This idea really started gaining momentum back in the 90s, and it argues that these neurological differences, they aren't diseases that need to be cured. They are natural, essential variations. It's exactly like biodiversity in nature, just for our brains.
Now, right alongside that, you'll often hear the term neurotypical, and this simply describes anyone whose brain functions align with dominant societal norms. So basically people who aren't autistic and don't have traits like ADHD. But here is the thing. These terms absolutely were not created to divide us. Not at all. They were just meant to give us a neutral, completely judgment-free way to talk about different cognitive styles.
So, historically, society leaned heavily on what we call the medical model. That was all about finding quote-unquote deficits within a person and, well, trying to fix them. But the modern neurodiversity paradigm, it aligns with the social model. And this model argues something totally different, that disability actually arises from societal barriers, not from the person themselves. So the whole goal shifts away from trying to fix people to removing those barriers and just honoring that natural biodiversity we just talked about.
And that brings us to a massively groundbreaking concept. This was introduced back in 2012 by an autistic scholar named Damian Milton. He stated, and I quote, "The difficulty in mutual understanding between autistic and neurotypical people is bidirectional." Basically, when two people experience the world in completely different ways, they're naturally going to struggle to empathize with each other. Nobody is broken here. It's simply a cognitive mismatch.
See, for a really long time, this super clinical idea called the theory of mind deficit basically ran the show. That was the belief that autistic people fundamentally lack the ability to understand other people's intentions. But Milton's double empathy problem flips that script entirely. It suggests that neurotypical people are just as bad at understanding autistic experiences as autistic people are at understanding neurotypical norms. It literally goes both ways.
So, the absolute crucial takeaway here, the whole idea that autistic people quote-unquote lack empathy was largely just a projection. Because neurotypical people are the majority, any deviation from their default was instantly labeled a deficit. But in reality, when autistic people communicate with other autistic people, information flows beautifully. Empathy's a two-way street, you know. The breakdown only happens on the bridge between two completely different communication styles.
Right, so how do we actually move forward with this? Well, we look to the disability rights framework. Step 1, presume competence. Always assume a person can understand and communicate without demanding that they somehow prove it first. Next up, we scaffold limitations. That just means providing practical, everyday accommodations so individuals can function as their authentic selves. And finally, the golden rule. Nothing about us without us. Autistic voices absolutely must be central in any decisions about their own lives.
Building on that exact kind of support, we really want to empower autistic individuals to advocate for themselves. And one excellent strategy here is to present specific, really clear ideas. Encouraging someone to just be upfront about what they need and validating that, yes, being direct is totally okay. That bridges communication gaps so much better than relying on all those vague, unstated social cues.
Another incredibly powerful tool, actively asking for feedback. Like during a conversation, just explicitly checking in to make sure both people are actually understanding each other. That right there is the double empathy problem being solved in real time. Both conversation partners are taking responsibility for their side of the interaction, which basically guarantees the message doesn't get lost in translation. But honestly, perhaps the most empowering self-advocacy tip of all is to educate others. Autistic individuals are the ultimate, undisputed experts on their own lives. By encouraging them to share what they actually need to thrive,
And by neurotypical people genuinely stepping up and listening, we stop pathologizing differences and we start building real, genuine respect.
So we've shifted from this old model of deficits to a much better one of diversity. And the double empathy problem teaches us that true understanding takes mutual effort. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. How will you help bridge the empathy gap in your community today? Whether it's questioning your own deep-seated assumptions or maybe just communicating a bit more explicitly, we literally all play a role. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this fresh perspective stays with you.